back out here at Hurricane Creek in the Tundra once again. The last time we were out here was quite a while ago. It was downpouring rain and we didn't have any of the bumpers and we had a bunch of rubbing issues with the tires and stuff like that. Now, after getting all the upgrades, the winch, the lights, all that stuff, we're back out here. We're on the entrance of the trail right now. That is literally I-40 West right over there, but there is the start of the trail. Now, I'm not really gonna film the beginning of it because it's basically just a gravel road, and then the trail gets a little bit more interesting later on. And then eventually it leads way up to the top of a mountain, but I don't know if it's gonna be too overcast to see anything up there today. So without any further ado, let's jump in the truck and get on the trail and we'll see how it goes. Well, we're at about the entrance of where the trail kind of officially starts, and the water is way lower than the last time I was here. Like a lot lower. And it actually looks like we might have to take a little bit of a wider line because this fallen tree was also not here the last time I was here. Now, granted, it's been a while since I've been up here, but I'm pretty sure that that fallen tree was not there. But I think we'll just go a little bit around kind of to the side. So there's a part of the trail right here that is so tight because, as you can see, it's literally coming in the truck, but the creek literally is the trail for about like 20 or 30 feet or so, and that makes it really, really close, especially for a big truck like this. Now, there is a campsite coming up on the left, kind of on the other side of a creek, and near there's also a old abandoned bus. And I don't really know the origins of the abandoned bus, but it is interesting. I'll show you guys when we get around the corner real quick. There's that abandoned bus I was talking about. And you can see it's very rusted out, it's very torn up and everything. And I'm sure there's a bunch of stories behind it. I just want to know how it got back here because, you know, you have to think, at least for me, that bus would not have been able to drive itself back here. Also, there's a gnarly line in between here and there, but it is way too narrow for my truck. There have been a couple of areas that have already been slightly too narrow because I have had to like rub my tire on like the inside of a tree to be able to make it around a corner. So trust me when I say there are some areas of this trail that are really freaking tight. I actually have to back up. Hold on. All right, let's see if I can readjust myself here just enough. Okay. Make sure I'm in. Yep. Make sure I'm in first. And turn. Almost there. We'll climb up over this rock and we'll be good to go. Not bad. Little bit of mud, but as you can see, yeah, like, see how tight it is between those two trees? My truck would not be able to fit, and it would be a lot of body damage.
Oh, you're okay.
Step?
Yep.
That's fine.
Okay. Okay. All right, and then turn it towards you. All the way towards you, all the way. As best as possible. Yeah, that's better. Better. A little bit more clearance. Okay. Okay. Yeah, okay. Yep, you're good.
That didn't take very long.
Definitely just look at your tires after we clean them off and make sure it didn't.
Yeah, I'm sure it's fine. Yeah, that didn't take very long to like scrape something with the step. I knew that having a step this low would create, you know, some clearance issues, but yeah, you know, it's one of those things. I feel like we don't really need that piece, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, because this, I mean, really, in any kind of, like, if this was a rock, it probably would have bent it a little bit, but it is still really muddy back here. Like, you don't really realize how muddy it's gonna be back here when, like, the rest of the trail is dry. Like, the main mud pit was completely dry, and there's still a little bit of mud back here, but like, this is that one spot that I said was gonna be way too tight. Bro, with this tree here and that tree over there, yeah, I would not, I mean, look how many people have already scraped right there. And this bus is so wild. I'm sure there's so much, like, I'm sure there's a bunch of history behind it, but like, I just want to know how it got back here. It's really baffling to me, honestly. All right, back in the truck. We've still got quite a bit of trail to do. Well, we're coming up on some people that are up here in a clearing, a couple of other rigs, and we're kind of going... It's a dip on that side. We're trying to go back and forth on whether or not they're going to be Toyotas or Jeeps. They're probably going to be Jeeps. They're all like turning around, but we'll find out in a minute. We're actually coming up on a big pit of mud. That looks like me. Be a little bit of a drop in on your side, I think. Oh, well, no, not really. It looked like it, but I will very quickly admit, said Toyota has crap for a turning radius, so yeah, I don't think they have anything to worry about. All right, we've been on the trail for a good while now, and we've come up to one of the obstacles that I just kind of want to look at ahead of time and plan my route a little bit for. The only thing with it is that it's basically just a little rock ledge, and you can see it over here, but you kind of want to be careful with your line because so it's rock on that side, dirt on this side, and then it's like just nothingness over there. So I'm just trying to be a little bit preemptive about how I plan to get through here. But I think, oh, you can actually see where some people have hit here before on this rock. But truck's down there, and I think the best thing to do here, because my tires are a tiny bit wet, I think the best thing to do here is gonna be to keep the driver's side kind of on this line right here, and it's gonna go up on this rock. It's gonna feel a little weird, but God, it almost looks like there's been some erosion here, which is not good because it used to come out further. But basically, you can see where people's tire tracks on the passenger side have been, and I'm gonna try to follow those. A little hole right here, I'm not worried about that. That's honestly probably diff. People have probably scraped their diffs there. What I'm gonna try to do is get to this point and then cut this way and see, well, I might even be able to cut around this way as well. I think I'll probably go that way.
Well, I'm sorry I didn't film it, but it actually was super easy. It was really, really easy. I slid around on some of the earlier obstacles on the trail before, but this was, like I said, insanely easy. All we did was basically kept the passenger side tire over here, basically kind of near where you could see the other tire tracks.
And then we followed that right up until about here. And then I was thinking about whether or not I wanted to go around that way, but I didn't want to scrape the diff. So right when I got to here, I basically cut left, and went up that way. But I know it doesn't look like much on the GoPro, but trust me, it's actually a lot more in depth when you're here in, you know, in real life, because again, I think obstacle-wise, it's really simple just in the grand scheme of things. But what makes it, you know, what gets in your head about it is the fact that it's you're either here or you're here. And that is not exactly the best thing for your brain.
But we're gonna go ahead and go on with the trail now. It's been a really great day. It's been a little drizzly in terms of rain, but dude, truck's been awesome. We've scraped the steps a little bit. I kind of figured we were gonna do that. We actually had a leaf stuck in the steps, but I kind of figured we were gonna do that because it was just gonna, you know, just gonna happen. The Maxxis Razor ATs are doing really, really well. Really, again, the only thing that I don't really like about them is how quickly they pack with mud, but luckily, we don't really have much mud to deal with today. And as you can see, they're not really packing all that bad right now. I mean, like, there's a little bit of packing, but like the actual tire lugs are completely fine. The front suspension has been awesome. The steering feel is a little heavier, obviously, with the Coachbuilder tie rods, but dude, I mean, it's actually way smoother off-road, especially with those upper control arms, those Dirt King upper control arms. I'm sure they're contributing to smoother suspension travel, but we're gonna go ahead and hop back in the truck and get on with the trail. Well, guys, we just came out of I think a side trail. We were on Hurricane Creek, we came out of a side trail, and we ended up here. There is a enormous view, absolutely enormous, and I've never come out of this trail from this spot before, but this is absolutely insane. I probably should have checked where we were, like, in cross-reference to a map before we came out here, but like, I mean, I've been out here before, but never solo. So I think with coming out here solo, I definitely should have looked. And somebody in the comments is probably like, oh, I know exactly where you're at. You're at like so-and-so's, like, you know, spot in relation to the trail. But man, either way, I did not expect there to be views this enormous when we came out of here. And the road we're on right now is just a gravel road with like a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit, so it's got to turn into a connector or some other road really soon, but we're kind of just figuring out where we are, and we don't know at the moment, but I'm sure we'll come up on something pretty soon. The side trail was pretty fun as well. I definitely felt a bit of a way into the side trail that I was like, wait a minute, this is not the way that I came through here when I was here with my friends before. And it got me a little worried for a minute, but after I started thinking about it a little bit more, I was like, this has got to come out somewhere. And sure enough, it did.